Here we're taking a look at a tutorial on the plastinated museum specimen hearts. So these hearts, these three, are used quite often in our course for teaching the heart structures. And these are all from ponies, these three. We have one that I will show you that's a bovine later. It's quite a bit larger, so we'll actually cover that separately. And I'll talk about the one main difference between the equine and the bovine when I pull out that one. And we'll take a look at each one of these individually, and I'll just go through the parts that are visible on each one. So I'm going to start, so the one on the table here that has been opened up, this one is actually has the atria removed. So left and right atrium have been removed on that one. So we'll talk about that one a little bit later, but we'll start with these two that are still intact. And so we're just going to start with these, and I'll walk through the structures and we'll look at those. Here we're going to walk through the parts of the heart on this plastinated pony heart. And I'm going to walk through it similar to how you dissected the heart in the dog specimen. So here I'm going to start with the cranial vena cava and the caudal vena cava. So those are kind of my landmarks to know where the right atrium will be. So the cranial vena cava and the caudal vena cava will meet and dump into the right atrium. So that would be this structure here. Then you have the right auricle, which is part of the right atrium, and that's this kind of flap. If you remember in the dog, it was kind of flap or ear-shaped, and that's this part right here. So that's going to be the right auricle, part of the right atrium, cranial and caudal vena cava dumping into the right atrium. Then we have the right ventricle, so we'll turn it just a little bit. We have the right ventricle here. And the marker for that, for me, is the pulmonary trunk. So the pulmonary trunk is right here, and that funneling portion, going from the right ventricle up into the pulmonary trunk, is the conus arteriosus. And that's where you funnel the blood into the pulmonary trunk. So that's a good marker for the right ventricle. So here we have the pulmonary trunk. And then we have this structure that hopefully you saw in another specimen previously. This is the ligamentum arteriosum. It's a fetal developmental remnant that attaches the pulmonary trunk to the aorta. So the aorta is this part here. Then the pulmonary trunk will branch off into left and right pulmonary arteries, which you can see part of that happening here. You have a pulmonary artery, and then here you have a pulmonary artery. So this one would be the left pulmonary artery, and this one would be the right pulmonary artery. So then we're going to go to the left side of the heart, which you can see opened up here. And the part that has been removed is where the pulmonary veins come back into the left atrium. So here would be, we're seeing into the left atrium right here. And the left auricle is this kind of flap shape right here. So left auricle, left atrium. Then here we're seeing, if you can see into the hole, you can actually see the probe going through that opening. So that will be the left atrioventricular orifice, and that leads into the left ventricle. So the left ventricle is the very thick part of the heart, and that's where we get to the apex. So that's another marker for knowing your left from your right, is that your left ventricle will be contributing to that apex the most. So left ventricle here, left atrium here. Now we'll talk a little bit about the aorta. And so you have your aorta, you can see it coming out here in your aortic arch going off this direction. But what I want to point out are the pulmonary arteries. So they come off the base of the aorta as it comes out of the heart. So coming out as the blood comes out of the heart, out of the left ventricle, and up into the ascending aorta, you have the pulmonary arteries come off. And you have the left pulmonary artery would be where the probe is, so kind of down in that recess. You can see a little bit there. So left pulmonary artery comes out, and then we'll branch into two parts. You have the periconal branch here, and that follows the periconal groove of the heart. And then you have the circumflex branch. And so circumflex, I always think of it going around something. So circumflex branch is going around underneath the left auricle. And so those are both parts of your left pulmonary artery. Then if I turn it just a little bit, here, going along with that circumflex branch, you can see the great cardiac vein right here, running along in the coronary groove. So those both are running in the coronary groove. And then that will come and dump into the coronary sinus inside your right atrium. So that we'll see on another specimen, but that will be right underneath here. So coronary sinus will be where that great cardiac vein comes into the right atrium. Then we have the right pulmonary artery that we'll have to look at. So you see that one traveling around this way, so we'll just follow it back up. The right pulmonary artery will come off in the pony and not branch at all. So it's just this one right here is right pulmonary artery, and then it will continue down as the subsinuosal artery right here. So in the pony, that's one thing that it will be different in the bovine. So we'll look at that a little bit later. But the subsinuosal artery in the pony comes off of the right coronary artery. This heart is very similar to the heart we just covered, but it's a little bit larger and shows a couple of things a little bit differently. So I'll just walk through the parts with you very briefly. So we'll start off on that same view, and we have the cranial vena cava right here, and the caudal vena cava here, which will dump into the right atrium, so that would be here. And then you have the right auricle attached to that right atrium. Then you will go into the right ventricle. And again, that marker for the right ventricle will be that pulmonary trunk that I talked about. So I find the pulmonary trunk, and the right ventricle is here. And then you have the conus arteriosus, is that kind of funneling down into, so funneling into the pulmonary trunk is conus arteriosus. You have pulmonary trunk. Pulmonary trunk gives off a left pulmonary artery and a right pulmonary artery. Then we have, on the left side of the heart, we do have some remnants of the pulmonary veins that you see here coming into the left atrium. So pulmonary veins going into left atrium. You also have the left auricle here, and then the left ventricle. Then we'll talk about the aorta. We have the aortic arch here, and we have the left pulmonary artery. It's a little bit more visible on this one, I think, in this particular specimen. If I put the probe down there, hopefully you can see it coming out there. That's the left pulmonary artery. And then that one in the pony gives off these two branches. You have the periconal branch, which is kind of hidden here, but it's in that periconal groove. And then you have the circumflex branch, which will be the one traveling around underneath the auricle. Circumflex branch going around in the coronary groove. Then that also is traveling with that great cardiac vein. You see there, great cardiac vein will dump into the coronary sinus, and that's in the right atrium. And then we want to talk about the right coronary artery. So right coronary artery here, you can see coming around, and then will terminate as the subsinuosal artery in the pony. So subsinuosal artery in the pony comes off of the right coronary artery. Okay, I need to go back. I think I said pulmonary artery on this one. Can I do the left one again? So here you can see the left pulmonary, see I did it again. Here you can see the left coronary artery. Left coronary artery. Okay, here you can see the left coronary artery a little bit better. That's coming off the base of the aorta, so you can see the probe right next to it in there. So left coronary artery is coming out and branching into the periconal branch running in the periconal groove. So periconal interventricular groove, if you want to use the whole name. And then you have the circumflex branch. So that's the one that goes around and underneath the auricle, the left auricle here. And that runs along with the great cardiac vein.
That's probably enough.
This is the heart of the pony that has the atria removed. So the left and right atrium have both been removed from this specimen, although we do have a little tiny piece of the right atrium left right here, and I'll talk about that and why we left that there. So in this heart, I'm going to start with just what's here. and so I'm not going to go over the other parts that are missing. But we have on this specimen, we took off most of the atrium on the right side, but we left just a little bit because you can see here, if I put the probe in it, you can see that the coronary sinus is right there, and that's why we left it there. So if you look at this heart, you can see the great cardiac vein. Is this vein going around the coronary groove, so between the atrium and the ventricles, and you have the coronary sinus is where that ends in the right atrium. So the probe is in that, in the coronary sinus. The great cardiac vein is here, running around in the coronary groove. Then on the right side of the heart, if we look down inside, here we can see the atrioventricular orifice on the right side, and that will have the tricuspid valve. So you can see the leaves of that, so the valves here. Then you will be into the right ventricle where the probe is going. Then on the right side of the left side of the heart, on the left side of the heart, we just have the left ventricle. So that's what we're seeing here. So we have just the bottom of the left atrium where we're going into the atrioventricular orifice. So this valve on the left side is the mitral valve. And here you can see some of the chordae tendineae. If you look down inside, you can see these kind of stringy parts attached to the septal cusp here. Sorry, the parietal cusp, septal cusp, but you can see them on the septal cusp also. But you can see these chordae tendineae, the stringy structures attaching to the valves there. Then we're in the left ventricle, and then we move up into the aorta. And here we can see into the aorta, which you don't always get to see, these semilunar cusps of the aortic valve. So here would be the aortic valve, and it has those little semilunar cusps, or these little sheets. I don't think you can see that very well. But if you look at the specimen, you can definitely see it. So when you look into the base of the aorta, you can see the little semilunar cusps there. And also on this view, it's really nice for the coronary arteries, because you can see right here with the blue pen is the left coronary artery, and that is the one that breaks into the two branches, where you have the periconal branch here with the white pin, and then the circumflex branch here that travels alongside that great cardiac vein. Then the right coronary artery is right here with the red pin, so you can see that very clearly on this specimen. And then that will travel down the heart here as the subsinuosal artery in the pony. So right coronary artery, subsinuosal artery. On the pulmonary trunk, we're looking at the pulmonary valve here, so the pulmonary semilunar valve, and it has these semilunar cusps that are marked with those yellow pins. But that's a view that you will want to take a look at in this heart, so that you can see that pulmonary semilunar valve. This heart is a bovine heart, so it's quite a bit larger. It's not as well dissected and preserved, but I just want to point out the one main difference in this heart versus the pony hearts that we looked at, and that is the location of the subsinuosal artery. So here, I'm going to just name the parts so you can get yourself oriented to this heart, and then I'm going to turn it. So you have the right auricle that you see here. So the right atrium is here, and the right ventricle is here. Then I'm going to turn it over, and we're looking more at the left side. So we have left ventricle is here, and you have that circumflex branch of the left coronary artery that comes around underneath this left auricle. And so it's this right here, and as it's traveling along, then it's going to turn in the bovine, and it will become the subsinuosal artery. And so that is different than in the pony. In the pony, it comes off of the right coronary artery, versus here in the bovine, you have the left coronary artery coming off, giving off this circumflex branch that travels around and then ends as the subsinuosal artery.